JJ back here with you on SportsCenter. You know, Russell Westbrook showed up and showed out last night in Game 7. But let's go back to Game 1 when Russ had this to say about his role in Denver.
My job is to be able to be the low man and find ways to excuse my language.
Look, Russell Westbrook would give the Clippers headaches all night. Call it what you want, Russ. There's Westbrook picking off James Harden, making him pay through Aaron Gordon. Nuggets up 3 now, and fans were loving it. There's Westbrook missing the free throw, grabs his own rebound, puts it back in. Never lacking effort is Russell Westbrook.
Never.
Stealing the inbound pass, takes it the other way. Let's slam it home. And let's hang on the rim. Doing it on both ends. A few minutes later, this time it's Ivica Zubac's pocket that he picks, goes down, thunderous dunk, more hanging on the rim. This time he would get called for the tech, does not care at all. Now he'll yell at the crowd. Here's what this whole thing sounded like on the Nuggets broadcast network. Listen.
Look out below. There he goes again. That's going to be a technical foul, and Westbrook doesn't care. The only people he's not yelling at is the announcers.
Good for him. Westbrook, 4th player ever with 15 points, 5 dimes, 5 boards, and 5 steals in a Game 7 since 1974. Of course, the Nuggets win it. I am here, Jay Harris, for all the Russell Westbrook love.
Absolutely. And let's talk about this one with Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr. and NBA analyst Quentin Richardson. I was going to bring you guys in saying whatever Russ said, but they told me I couldn't do that. So let's just start a different way. Q, I'm going to start with you. Great night from Russ. Not a great night from his former teammate James Harden, who dropped 7 points on 2 for 8 shooting, and he didn't talk to the media afterward. What is your reaction to the game James played?
Man, I'm not as critical as everybody's being. The knee-jerk reactions right now. I felt like he was playing the James Harden game. He was distributing, getting everybody involved to start the game out. But the game went off. The wheels came off. The wheels came off the wagon, man. Before he had a chance to do his thing and know that he has the ball and he could start creating for himself and trying to get himself going and doing things like that. The blowout happened. And at that point, once the blowout happened, I felt like he didn't have a chance to have a complete game because, you know, they were in and out of the lineup, and it was like I say, generally a blowout. But the stats looked bad, like 7 points in the closeout game, but I felt like he was on pace and on track to kind of play better, but it just didn't happen. I see what you're doing.
Everybody needs to understand. Y'all got to understand. We're going to peel back the curtain a little bit. Me and Q hang out every morning doing these sports. I got to know him a little bit. Q's one of the nicest people you ever meet. That's the nicest things I can imagine you ever saying about anybody, especially with James Harden. 7 points, Q. He gave us 7 points, 8 shots, and this is a carryover of Game 7s that we've seen since 2020, averaging 13 points in those Game 7s and not shooting better than 30% in any of those. This is another failure in Game 7 James Harden. I'm afraid to say that the book on James Harden has been closed. This is what we know about this guy. He is a great regular season performer, one of the greatest scorers we've seen, but he absolutely comes up short and folds under pressure in Game 7s. Q, I can't believe you made me come out here and be bad cop after you've said all these nice things about this man and had to tell everybody what was really going on with James Harden in these Game 7. This is an inexcusable performance by him.
I didn't like that he didn't speak to the media. I'll say that. I didn't like that part of it. I felt like whatever goes on, just go out there, stand up to him, say what you got to say, then you out of here for the season, for the offseason.
Agreed. And that 7 points, by the way, Harden's fewest in the 26 elimination games that he's played in his career. On the other side, the Nuggets advance to the second round. They get to play the Thunder. Oklahoma City coming in minus 900 favorites to win the series at ESPN Bet. This is for both of you. If Denver is going to pull off the upset, what needs to happen? Q, you start.
They need the magical Murray. They need Jamal Murray to be, you know, the best version of himself, the guy that could go out there and get 35 to 40 points and it could light a team on fire and, you know, lead them to victory. Because what we've seen is that Joker is going to be his consistent self and be there and be dominant. Aaron Gordon's been pretty consistent. But they need Jamal Murray to be the superstar that he's capable of being for them to be at their best full potential and their best opportunity to be OKC. And with that being said, I don't think they have a real chance to be OKC. I'll leave it at that and let Double D go ahead from there.
I'm with you on that one, but we're gonna try to find a light at the end of the tunnel for Denver. And for me, it's Jokic. And Jokic has to be better than he was even in that Clippers series. He has to be the best player on the court. He's got to say, look, SGA, you may win MVP this year, but I'm the best player in the world. Last time they played, he had 38, 18, and 8. We need those kind of numbers from him to get everybody involved, to also dominate that Chet Holmgren, Hardenstein, big man lineup, and he has to confound that OKC Thunder defense to the point where they are scrambling to figure him out. This is all about maybe Jokic having the best series of his life if Denver has a shot here.
All right, David Dennis Jr., Quentin Richardson, appreciate you guys. More from both of you in a bit later on SportsCenter. Shay, Game 7 in Houston later today. Rockets trying to come back from down 3-1 to the Warriors. David Dennis Jr. and Quentin Richardson are back with us. Q, I want to start with you. The past 3 games have been tough for Steph Curry. He's averaging 20 points per game and shooting 33% from 3. How can Steph counter what Houston's defense has been doing to him?
Steph has to be Steph, man. Steph is the greatest shooter ever known to man, and he just has to figure it out. Right now, Houston is doing a great job. Ime is throwing the kitchen sink at them. They got size, they got physicality, they got speed, power, they got all of the advantages that's guarding him, and they sending different matchups from Van Vliet to Thompson to Brooks. He's seeing everything. But at the end of the day, this is why he is Steph Curry. He's the chef. He has to find a way to be amazing. He's done it before. He's done it in games in this series where they were hounding him and all over him with the knuckle and everything else. This is a Steph Curry game waiting to happen. He has to go out there and be the chef.
To me, it's how he starts the game. He's been slow in those first quarters, only averaging about 3 points in the first quarter this series. Had a couple 2-pointers, had a couple one scoreless first quarter. You go out there and you put that fear of that triple threat in the hearts of the Rockets coming out the gate, much like he did against the Kings in Game 7 when he scored 50. He came out hot and had everybody on edge and scrambling so he can get other players involved too. I expect an aggressive Stephen Curry to go out there in Houston, a place that he has torched in the playoffs before. You get those fans nervous, get that defense nervous, and things should be rolling downhill for that Warriors team.
All right, Q, back to you. Outside of Steph, what or who do you think is the biggest key that will decide this game?
This game, I mean, right now, I feel like it's going to come down to the Warriors having to contain Fred VanVleet. I think he's been kind of overshadowed in this series. He's a champion as well. He was a key part of that Toronto Raptors team when they won a championship, so he had championship experience, and he's a leader in that locker room for the Rockets. And if they can contain him, because these last 3 games, he's been going off, and he's been a key to their victories. If they can contain him, and you still don't get a big game from Jalen Green, I think that improves the Warriors' chances of winning immensely.
I'm going to go with the other veteran who's been giving the Warriors hell, and that's Steven Adams. They have not figured out this double big lineup, that zone defense, and the fact that Steven Adams is basically grabbing every single offensive rebound that he possibly can, or making it possible for Şengün to grab every single offensive rebound. They're at about a 40% offensive rebound rate together on the court. And Steven Adams is a plus 53 on the series when he's in the court. The Rockets are a negative 39 when he's off. So the Warriors knew that. They tried to hack at Adams. He was able to hit those free throws and stay in the game. They've got to be able to figure out a way to offset that. Maybe we get some more Looney this game. Maybe we finally get Kuminga to grab some of those boards. But Steven Adams is a game changer, and maybe the reason that the Rockets will be able to come back down 3-1.
All right, gentlemen, y'all hang tight. We're going to have more on this Game 7 later, but there's a Game 1 today that we need to break down. Shay?
Yeah, let's do it, Jay. Here, the Eastern Conference top-seeded Cavaliers start their second-round series this evening in Cleveland against the Pacers. In case you've forgotten, back in round 1, Pacers beat the Bucks in 5. Cavs swept the Heat. The Cavs won 64 games in the regular season, but lost 3 out of their 4 matchups against the Pacers. Indiana has not beaten a #1 seed in the postseason since 1994. Back now with Quentin Richardson and David Dennis Jr. And guys, let's start with you here, Q. What do you see as the key to this series? Nice and simple.
Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has to be the best player in the series, Shay. He's a first-team All-NBA, in my opinion, this year, and he's played like that. And he knows. He's read the room well. He knows nobody expects them to make it to the finals until they do it. And I think he has that on his mind. He has to go nuclear this series and be the best guy, but he needs support from the Mobleys, from the Jared Allens, from the Darius Garlands. He needs that support. They got a great deep team, and he needs the support from them, but he needs to be the lead guy.
Yeah, and I think he actually will get that support from everybody else with that offense. That offense is a high-powered, one of the best, most efficient offenses that we have seen, and the Pacers do not really have an answer for them. What they do, they will run you off that three-point line, but that leaves that interior a little bit more vulnerable. And when the Cavs are humming offensively, whether it's from three, whether it's attacking the paint with those bigs, they are unstoppable, and it also slows down that Pacers offense. That Pacers offense, when they get moving in transition, they are hard to stop. It is beneficial on both ends for the Cleveland Cavaliers to be able to score as much as possible in those half-court sets and allow their defense to pull their hair back and slow down that Pacers team.
We saw Cleveland score in round one, that's for certain. They outscored the Miami Heat by an average of 30 points in the first round. We'll see if that can continue against Indiana. Guys, thank you.
Shea Cornette, Jay Harris back on SportsCenter, and the Rockets looking to complete a comeback from 3-1 down against the Warriors in Game 7 tonight in Houston. Fred VanVleet, as we go by the numbers, has been lights out from beyond the arc, shooting 67% on threes over the last 3 games. He's made 18 three-pointers, the most in a 3-game span in Rockets postseason history. Meanwhile, Steph Curry has not been cooking in the last 3 games, averaging just under 20 points a game, while shooting below 40% from the field, including going 1 for 7 in the fourth quarter of Game 6. But Curry knows about stepping up in Game 7s. In the Warriors' last Game 7 back in 2023 in Sacramento, Steph became the first player in NBA playoff history to drop 50 to lift Golden State to the series win. NBA reporter Tim MacMahon joining the show now. Tim, so Steph and the Warriors hoping to win Game 7 and avoid blowing a 3-1 series lead again. What's one of the big challenges they'll have to deal with in Houston today?
Howdy, Jay. The big challenge is dealing with that caveman, as Fred VanVleet calls Steven Adams. Who would have thought Steven Adams in 2025 would have this massive of an impact on a playoff series? But that's exactly what we're seeing. This man is plus 53 in that series, the best plus minus of any player in the league. That's so much about spacing and shooting and small ball, thanks in large part to the Warriors driving that trend. The Rockets are beating up Golden State with good old-fashioned bully ball, playing the 2 bigs together a lot, Steven Adams and Alperen Sengun. Just if they miss, so what? They're grabbing every rebound. They're just physically overwhelming Golden State in this series. The Warriors have to find an answer.
All right, let's stay in the West. The Nuggets blow out the Clippers. They advance to the next round. They get Oklahoma City. We got the 2 MVP favorites facing off in Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What will you be watching from those 2 players?
You know, I was there in Oklahoma City the last time these teams met, and that's the game where Nikola Jokic, second night of a back-to-back, had 35 points, 18 rebounds, 8 assists. And after that game, he came as close as ever to campaigning for the MVP. He said, I think I'm playing the best basketball of my career. So if that's enough, that's enough. If not, the guy deserves it. That guy, obviously talking about SGA, led the league in scoring, led the Thunder to a league best 68 wins, the best point differential in NBA history. He's probably going to get that MVP trophy in this series. The Nuggets need Joker to play the best basketball of his career to have a chance to pull off the upset. If it's enough, it's enough. He's going to need some help because the deeper, more talented team is Oklahoma City. By the way, one of those guys who needs to help Joker, a former MVP, the last MVP for the Oklahoma City, Russell Westbrook, will be a massive wild card in this series.
All right, Tim will be covering every game, every second of that Denver OKC series, and it should be a good one. Tim MacMahon, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Back now with David Dennis Jr. and Quentin Richardson. And Q, this Rockets team has a chance to come back from a 3-1 deficit, get to the second round of the playoffs for the first time since 2020. What has impressed you the most about the way they've come back in this series?
One of the things that I've been most impressed with, Shay, is the defense they've been able to play on Steph Curry. I mean, the different bodies they're throwing at him, the schemes, the blitzing, the physicality they're using against them and that they're going up against them with. I mean, this is a really young team. I think Ime has done an amazing job putting his identity on the team. He was a former teammate of mine when he played in the league. Scrappy defender, physical guy, just like the identity he has been playing with. So for me, the biggest surprise in this comeback has been the defensive and the way they've been able to play Steph. And also you couple that with the 3 games that Fred Van Vliet has put together. Those are the things that's been the most intriguing to me in this comeback.
Yeah, for me, it's the way that this Rockets team, this young core, has grown up before our eyes. Look at how they were in Game 1 and could not execute in the fourth quarter. Now, contrast to that to the team we saw in Game 6 in that fourth quarter. They cut the Warriors' water off in that game. They went on a made the Warriors miss 15 out of their 16 shots first in that fourth quarter. They were able to get a road win in Golden State in an elimination game by playing physical defense, by being poised, by executing better than a team full of champions. We are seeing a Rockets young core that is getting their wings right now in the playoffs.
To your point, DD, when you talk about Game 7 experience, the Rockets roster in totality has 10 Game 7s in their roster. In terms of Dre, Jimmy, and Steph, 14. It just doesn't even compare. Look, we've addressed this game from a bunch of different angles today, so let's get to prediction. Who wins and why? Q, you go first.
I'm going to go with the Warriors. I got to go with the veteran. And Shay, I can't go against the little light-skinned dude, number 30, man. I'm not about to have the little light-eyed, light-skinned boy looking at me crazy after he go crazy in another game and prove himself again. So I'm going to roll with the Warriors and Steph Curry and Jimmy Buckets and Draymond.
I'm going to go with Q, and I'm going to go for the same reason. My waffle-complected brother, Stephen Curry, knows how to execute in these Game 7s. That's what the guy can do. He just put up 50 last time he did it. I know that they're getting beat up, but that experience between him and Jimmy Butler, they know how to close out a series in these elimination games. I'm going with the Warriors as well.
I'm not qualified to speak on this matter, but I'm just going to say I agree with you. I'm not going to go against the dude that can drop 50 in a Game 7.
I'll talk about it. Put the camera on me. I'll talk about it.
Go to Jay Harris. Goodbye, guys. Thank you.